like on paint, on cursor change, before browse, get resource content. Did we make our own web window or something? Dashkin UI is a U object, and we've got a U object and a compound widget. So we've got all these things, all these bridge objects that we can call. So we've got the create base page, get directory, get bridge, and okay, so we got like adding web page. So this is constructing the actual thing. So we have like a new URL, and we hook into load complete, load error, title change, and all that stuff. Pop-ups, URL changes, load URLs. So let's boot it up, see what we get, and we'll kind of poke from the outside in and see what's calling us and doing all these things, because we need to find where they're checking their domains, and we need to be able to allow it. Or maybe we've got a JavaScript error on the page that's not showing up properly. So on before navigation, we're going to the index page, and we loaded the index page. Let's check our call stack. What actually loads us? Get URL. Get resource content. On before resource load. So what are we trying to load here? Yeah, we're in CEF DLL calls back out to us is what it looks like. And the request is like an actual thing that we can't actually look at because it's often like other language. Yeah, we have like this compiled stuff going on. Okay, load complete. Title changed. So when we call create screen, nothing's happening for us at all. Reload page is when like load started happens. Before navigation is called. On before browse. So URL is changed, all these things get loaded. And nothing's getting called. So we're getting this struck down pretty much as soon as it's not even getting fired. So we have to figure out why it's not getting fired. Morning, Ishu. Doing well today. Just we're working on. We fixed up some of the object stuff, and then I'm also looking at some compatibility issues with the latest release. Our our WebKit window is no longer working properly for our UI, so we're going to go into fixing that. And it's been a very long time since I've looked at this stuff, so let's see. This is the create screen function, so we're going to have script. It's going to be probably inside of Dashkin.js. It's going to call GScreenManager create and attach screen by name. So it should be like screen manager create attached screen by name. So we're going to create an attached screen, which is going to create a new unique UI element, and call push screen, which is going to do things. So I'm actually going to check out pretty much all the UI stuff real quick. So we got create and attach by name. It's just glogger.info. We are creating the screen name. And the cool thing that I rigged up about all this stuff is I can reload this page without reloading the game. So create screen's not even getting called here. Get mesh for a character? Well, we are on 4.16 right now, Z-Sales. I could run a real quick test if you wanted. How exactly would I test for the get mesh stuff on a character? We're using 2D stuff, so I don't really have a whole bunch of blah, but I can probably rig up a blueprint real quick and test it out if you give me a little bit of instructions as to what to check for. So let's see. I'm betting there's some sort of compile error or something else that's going on here. So we're loading all these different things. Let's see, I want to put like a... Let's check our logger real quick. Creating an example screen. So reload our page, clear log. I'm not seeing anything happen with the create screen button. Is there something... There's something messed up with it. Alright, so let's see. If I had like a piece of starter content in here, is more what you're looking for, and like a skeletal mesh. So if I've got like a ceiling lamp or something, and we threw it down right here, then if I go to blueprints, convert selected object to blueprint class, let's sort of test content and do like test lamp. So if I've got this lamp here and we go to our event graph and we do like begin play, let's just do on play for lamp. So what you're saying is in C++, well, we can always look up the C++ code if the blueprint stuff is there. So it's like you want get mesh, set skeletal mesh. So we need to grab the static mesh component off of here, is what you're saying? So set skeletal mesh is here, and it takes what a skinned mesh component reference. Target is a skinned mesh, so we need not a static mesh but a skinned mesh. Do you even have a skinned mesh somewhere in here? Is there like a side-scrolling character? Maybe is what we would actually need. And this has this skeletal mesh component on it. It's like if we hit play, this guy is over here, so he is there. So we can set him to a test skin mesh real quick. We compile that up. This guy should be turning into a box? Yeah, so he turned into a box. So the blueprint skeletal mesh, set skeletal mesh worked, so we can go check out the C++ for that. So it should be what, skeletal mesh.h? So it's like set, what the hell was it? Set skeletal mesh. Well, let's just see where it is. Set skeletal mesh. Should be somewhere. Alright, fine. If there's too many of them, we'll just look for the thing that has the namespace on the front of it. So it's in skeletal tree, a new skeletal mesh. So skeleton tree. So set skeletal mesh is here, so we need to go to the skin mesh component. Yeah, so yeah, set skeletal mesh is definitely working. It's on the skinned mesh component in C++ land, and it works just as you'd expect. So you should be able to call it no problem. It is inside of the public methods for. So if you get the skinned mesh component anywhere in C++, you should definitely be able to call set skeletal mesh with your new mesh class. It just worked for me. So if it doesn't work for you, maybe there's something else going on. But I think ZSales, it should be good. So I don't know if there's any anything else you want me to test real quick, but that I think hopefully that gives you some information to help you out. Yeah, Calmort, my day's going pretty well. Just working on some random issues here. The thing that's currently vexing me is the UI here. The UI here is wrong. This create screen isn't doing anything, and I'm not seeing things in my logs work properly. This UI should actually be looking like... It should look like this. It's a web page, so I should be able to call create screen, which makes this screen that nicely resizes properly with the size of the window. You can reload the page, you can create like a yes or no dialog box on top of it, and then I can use the arrow keys here to like actually navigate and do all that stuff. So I have to figure out why this is. So I can live update this stuff, like I have a reload button at the top there, and you see I can like change test button to test button 2, save that, and then reload the page here, and test button 2 is now test button 2. So okay, let's see. If I hit this, it says alert hello. So I should be able to reload this. And yeah, see, something's messed up here. I just added this glogger info bit here. So something's going wrong with our compiles. So like we just have so much garbage going on here. Like I don't see anything going wrong with our web window. Well, at least you can see there that there's something going on with how you're calling it. It must be something you're passing in that's not compatible, because those are just basic skin mesh components. What I would do is I would do the same thing I just did, which is just grab like the side-scrolling character or something that already exists and get a nice thing that does work. You know, confirm that like my test wasn't complete crap. So you're calling get mesh, set skeletal mesh. And you were getting it by name with that object. The only thing I can think of is there's something there with your app object finder or something else where you're not actually loading that data or something. Maybe it's not loaded yet, because I don't know if the object finder loads an asset if it's actually in there or not. So I double check that something's not null. It says it can't find get mesh in construction helpers. Where is this code, Z-Sales? Is this inside of a component that you have? Is this inside of the actual like skeletal mesh component in C++ land? Inside the character. Well, do you mean inside of your actor CPP code, where like you have an actor that you've created? It's in deleted, yes. Character.cpp. Yeah, so fetching the mesh component off of there. Okay, so that's off of a pawn. So get mesh. Should be a skeletal mesh component, yeah. And you should be, so the only thing I can think of is that your object finder there is failing, because we verified that skeletal mesh is working as it should. So in order to kind of duplicate the functionality you're doing, I should really be somehow finding this object. I need like to see if construction helpers f object finder. I'm like, yeah, you got the right thing there. It is a use skeletal mesh. See if there's a find object by name blueprint. I'm pretty sure it's going to be that asset loading thing. I would just verify that you're actually grabbing a skeletal mesh component there and not just passing in null for the new mesh. Because everything else looks correct. And like, you know, the dot object or whatever there, I guess, should be just crashing if it's wrong. But there's got to be something inside of that construction helpers object finder which is not working properly for you. How to actually, you might try doing your own code here with loading the fasset registry module yourself and then actually going and scanning those paths. So like actually go scan those paths yourself, grab the U object off of there and make sure that that's working, because you can get rid of the construction helpers just by having something that goes and scans the path yourself real quick and make sure that it works. Because some of the implementation details of some of these assets, they may or may not load depending upon how you call, like find object or get object or whatever. And I'm betting something changed with 4.15 versus 4.16 where the asset loading is no longer doing exactly what it used to do and your asset's null. But I can't know beyond that. So I'm gonna keep working on my stuff. Sorry, I don't know everything. Anyway. So test button 2. So something's going wrong with my JavaScript stuff that's not actually working. So I'm gonna throw some of these alerts around here and kind of try to figure out where things are breaking. So Dashkin.js loaded properly. Let's see, what scripts are we actually loading here? We've got all these jQuery scripts and all the rest. got our globals, so let's just call globals loaded, input loaded, logging loaded, and utils loaded. So we should have a bunch of stuff here pop up. So logging loaded, utils loaded, input loaded, Dashkin loaded. What did we not see loaded? We did not see globals. Globals did not load. Input did not load. Is that because we didn't load them or for some other reason? Yeah, good luck, Z sales. So we're loading globals, logging utils, input. So globals should have been popping up first there, to be honest. So if we reload the page, logging's the first one, so something screwed up with globals. So let's okay, so it's this guy right here, this load screen HTML function, which is having problems. So what we're doing with this is we're doing window engine load local resource file path, and then we're promising this, and we're appending it to the DOM. So we're basically calling directly into load local resource file. So we'll do some of these alerts here to help out. So we're going to say not in game. We say in game. And I have a hunch here that this window.ue is screwed up somehow. Because kind of how this JavaScript bridge stuff works. Okay, so before cross HTML load, we're trying to load screen example screen. We are in game, and the window UE object is an actual object. Okay, so we should actually be able to go to load local resource file then. So let's see what we're actually trying to do. Wow, interesting. So our load local resource file isn't even getting called. So we've added this bridge object called engine. So we bind all the objects. and bridges. So there's 22 things. So we have like engine, which is bound. And then we're binding window to our current thing. So we're actually crashing somewhere in here. So window UE engine. So it looks like something is not allowing us to access the bound U objects for some reason. So we're calling loading screen, in-game example screen, and then we're done. Okay. So what we should do is we should actually see like what window.ue.engine is. Then we can just do window.ue.engine. Yeah, okay, so window UE engine is undefined. Now how did we actually figure out if we're in the game or not? So window.ue isn't undefined, but window.engine is. So we need to, for each JavaScript. I don't remember the syntax for all this. Alright, so this should loop over every key that's in UE and tell us what they are. So window UE object is that, engine's undefined. We have audio. We have build, command line, config, console, crash, encryption, engine, files, global, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, those are all looking right, but if you notice, every single one of them is freaking lowercase. So what the hell? Like, is this bind you object literally? This is going to be swebbrowser.cpp. So there's like bind you object. Yeah, so did they literally change the case on us? So let's follow this in. So the name is uppercase engine, and the name is get binding name of object. So let's see what it is. Oh wait, so there's literally a new field here in JS scripting, which is binding to lowering enabled. And it's lowercasing all of our names. That is absolutely That is ridiculous. What the fuck? Okay, I want the opposite. Ugh. It's more likely that they changed the default from like true to false or something. Or from false to true. So let's see where in the hell is that even set? So that's inside of get binding name. And this is WebJS scripting. It's like where we're actually, we have like a new web browser, and the web browser is the thing that okay, I get it. I'm gonna go remove all that debugging crap so it doesn't keep popping up 2 million alerts on me. Stop it. We figured out the problem. Stop telling me information. Okay, so this is being called from. This is inside of the construct for the web browser. So yeah, Dashkin UI creates a new web window, and the web window passes all the way down to this guy. So let's see. It's passed in here. To lowering is set. Where are you set? It looks like it's just set in the constructor of the web browser singleton. Like this setting isn't even exposed to us. Oh yeah, updates. That's why it's a major release update. It's Unreal 4.16, not 4.16.1 or something. Major updates, you are expected that there are breaking changes. So it looks like bindings is just enabled to true. And what I'm looking for is if there's any damn way that I can do anything about this without because we're calling create web browser with settings, and the settings takes inargs on here. The inargs and you see like there are certain things that it's got. It's like support transparency and all these things. Literally, they are not allowing us to specify if this thing can be set or not inside of Unreal. So we need to find like what this create browser window settings are, and we want to expose this value for ourselves. Yeah, there's not there. So what we probably should do is the least code change that we can actually do. And the least coding change is this. It's probably right here. We probably should just default this to false. And this is an experimental plugin, so I'm not super surprised that something got changed, because nobody's supposed to be using it yet. Well, I mean, you can use it. It's in experimental, so it's like, well, not everything's always going to be amazing. All right, we're just going to double check a few of these things. So let's see what we've got. UE engine as object. Command line as object. Console as object. Hashing encryption. HTTP. Math. Graphics. Global. Config. They're all objects. And we got this load local resource. And all this crap is doing everything that it... Jesus Christ, get on my face. Alright. We get it. We get it. You load objects. Yeah, I think it's pretty funny that the guy Z Sales there shows up and asks a whole bunch of questions. Doesn't even follow. Got those Twitch freeloaders. Well, hopefully he solves his problems. But I would expect if you ask people to take their time, explain things, you might follow. What a jerk. So if we call create screen, bam, I've got my screen and here's my input for all my stuff. And I can pop the screens and they work. Here's my yes no dialog. I've got my so yes no. Let's see if yes or no I can actually do things. Looks like there's a few things that are a little busted with some of it, but that just has to do with some other things. So we're going to remove some of our test code there. Save it. Make sure it still runs as we would expect. Alright, so UI true is good, so the UI does function. Yeah, it's still 100. Yeah, it's a good number. I'm okay with this. Alright, so we fixed our UI. And our UI was fixed because it took a little while to actually figure out what was busted, because they changed everything that would be completely screwed with their stuff. And we actually don't support cross-site stuff inside of or like embedded framework there. It's more, I actually call the file load command directly, and I'm just like, load this local file and throw it into the UI. So, and that is, so I mean, that's also something that's a little bit scary, right? Like, it's a web page that can load your local file system and run programs and shit like that. Like, that's insane, right? Like, so if inside of this browser thing that I've created here. You visited an external website. Let's say you went to Amazon.com, or you went to some nefarious website like Russia.ru, and it could then read your file system and do whatever the hell it wanted with it. So you got to watch out for embedded browsers. So like with this thing for the UI, of course, this browser is not going to allow you to go to websites that are outside of, what we explicitly coded. So some to watch out for. Like if you're using a program that has an embedded web browser, chances are, if it's having you visit external sites, that they got crazy shenanigans happening. Because it's the same thing with like security plugins. Like there's so many bugs where somebody has installed like Kaspersky antivirus plugin for your browser, and how people in like Kaspersky or whatever, I don't know if that's even them, but they'll make browser plugins, and if some like newbie intern goes, okay, cool, I'll just add this function in here so that you can call like local.kaspersky. Check this URL or something, it'll actually override, the code that normally executes in the browser and use whatever the hell they added to their plugin. Which there have been many multiple instances where your browser plugins for security systems actually expose your entire file operating system to hackers. And I would recommend you never use any browser plugins at all, even your security ones, because the best security is just default Chrome or default Firefox. Just don't use that shit. It opens up more holes than you thought. And that's coming from a server engineer who worked with security. Like that's just something. So what do we got next on our short list? Yeah, it was one of the things like Adam was asking about, like some antivirus stuff, and I was just like, well, just run the latest Windows update for your operating system. Make sure you're on the latest operating system, and Windows Defender is going to be your best bet. Anything else is probably not your best bet. Oh yeah, and always back up all your files. Like just assume it's one of those things. Like assume catastrophe will happen, so that when it does, you just turn your computer off, and you lose like the last day of work or something, and that's it. And somebody runs in and blows your computer apart with a bomb or something. You just but probably move somewhere where people don't do that, and then second step, just pull your backup and from a fresh machine, and then you're good to go. All right, so we fixed our UI. Our data manager is working properly. We need to make better spawning methods for these things. So we were back looking at exactly what our objects are and how we create them. So we'll get back into that mode. Yeah, and there's actually some pretty cool stuff here with the UI. Like I could actually go to this UI page and I could make a new button real quick. Like I'll show it off real quick. It's just like go to Twitch, and I could totally just totally just make a little script here that says function go to Twitch, and I can just do window.location equals that. And if I run this with UI true, I want to see if it works. If the web browser that we have is actually powerful enough to do this. Yeah, I know. See if I can watch my own stream on my own stream in my own program. So we got the go to Twitch button. Oh no, it's loading things. Oh man, here we go. There's no... Oh, there's... Flash isn't installed, so I can't do anything. Oh, I have to like log in to actually do anything here? That's stupid. I shouldn't have to log in to chat and Twitch. I should be able to do whatever I want. But yeah, so that's our UI. This is in game, right? Like we can go do all the things. But I don't have any video support, so you know, yeah, instant browser. There you are. See, you're in chat. And that's just in game, so that's how easy it is to make UI stuff in our current system. So one of our things with our UI is one of the things is our UI should be very easy for us to make. So like I've already saved that page, and I can just hit play here, and the go to Twitch button's gone and all that stuff. Yeah, hello me. Sorry, we're closing that down. We don't want Caracan inside of the game anymore. Too many shenanigans. All right. Yeah, that's one of the cool things. You know, you can do a lot of stuff if you've got an embedded browser in your game that's interactable with C++. Yeah, too many deaths have happened. So I think what is going to work here is I'm going to take a couple minutes on break and be back to kind of reset myself. Because we got the UI done and all that. I'm kind of distracted. So I'm just going to like eat a granola bar and come back. And we'll get back to working on blueprint stuff. So thanks for sticking around. And we'll be back in just a couple minutes. Right. Well, just a minute or two, right? So let's get back to work. So we need to figure out how we want to create these entities. I'm gonna keep saying it until we actually finish it.